How many times have you been driving in a big rainstorm when you hit flooding? And have you ever wished that you could just drive on water? Well, picture this. Norman Hugstad of Illinois drives a car from the 60s. When he hits the water, well, no problem. He just drives right in. The car is called an amphi car. Amphi, short for amphibious. Actually, a few of these cars were imported in this country back in the 60s, but they were discontinued because they couldn't meet safety standards. Well, these days, a lot of American marriages end up in divorce, and that explains this scene a few days ago in Dallas. 108 people came to family court at the same time for a mass divorce. The judge said a few words, people raised their hands, and seconds later, the knots were untied. All right, divorce may be big, but the stereo headphone craze is even bigger. This is Tony Winton of Georgia wearing his new pair of headphones. My goodness, they're not real, of course, so you have to blow them up like a balloon. And he has a good time. New way to blow your mind, I suppose.
It's a way to listen to the big band sound.
Look at the
Tomorrow
picture.
on the 5 o'clock Eyewitness News, a man who may be the oldest firefighter in America, also actor Ed Asner.
That's all coming up tomorrow. With Kaidi Tong, I'm Ernie Anastas. We'll both be back tonight at 11 o'clock. Have a good night. And now at the 6 o'clock Eyewitness News, Roger Grimsby and Tracy Egan.
Well, we've heard it time and time again. You hear it again. A shortage of heroin on the streets, they say. The drug pipeline linked to organized crime has been cut. Arrests have been made.
Also tonight, you won't be seeing any more swimsuits, umbrellas, or even summer drinks on the portable beach on Manhattan's East Side. The man who created it ordered now to shut it down.
This is for public use, and he has a private use barge there where the public has not been invited.
Roger Sharp tells us all about hooking up and paying up for cable TV usage. No problems at the Indian Point evacuation drill. Spencer with Billy Martin and lotto fever running high in New Jersey. It's all next here on Eyewitness News.
McNugget mania grows. When McDonald's introduced Chicken McNuggets, one question was on everybody's lips.
Hot mustard, sweet and sour, honey, barbecue sauce?
Now there's a bigger question.
6, 9? Oh, 20.
McDonald's introduces the Big 9 McNugget size and the even bigger 20 McNugget size. McNuggets have changed the way America thinks about chicken.
Now all I think about is McNuggets.
McNuggets, McDonald's and you.
Okay, men, prepare to jump.
What's it like to ride the new parachutist perch at Great Adventure? You're a paratrooper on D-Day, jumping behind enemy lines as parachutist perch, the world's tallest ride, takes you up 25 floors and sets you free with a view beyond your wildest imagination. Parachutist perch, new at Great Adventure, because everyone needs a great adventure. Save $3 after 4 p.m. now through Labor Day.
Tomorrow only, Bamberger's brings you an exceptional Sealy sale. Tomorrow only, get a best-selling Sealy mattress for half price. Today, this Sealy super luxury firm sells for $138. Tomorrow, it's only $69. Today, this Sealy Posturepedic sells for $198. Tomorrow, it's only $99. And tomorrow only, when you buy any Sealy set in any size, you'll get a bed frame as a bonus. Best-selling Sealy mattresses, 50% off tomorrow only at Bamberger's one-day sale.
Fight back. Call 577-TIPS. This is Eyewitness News with Roger Grimsby and Tracy Egan, plus Spencer Christian, Storm Field, and the Eyewitness News team. Bill Beutel is off tonight.
Good evening. I'm Roger Grimsby. Here now the news. The FBI says it's slowly strangling the drug trade of the biggest organized crime family in this country, with the arrest of 8 men in Brooklyn today. The feds say they shut down much of the Gambino family's narcotics business. Mark Haynes tells us how big it was.
According to the FBI, the heroin ring was operating on a huge scale.
This is a multi-kilo narcotics operation. You could conservatively say dealing in millions of dollars.
A year?
Yes.
NYPD Lieutenant Remo Franceschini has investigated organized crime for 20 years. He says the feds have put a major dent in the Gambino family.
These are our associates and made members of the Gambino crime family.
Would their arrest be significant to the family? Would it be damaging for all of these people to get arrested, or is it?
It's very significant. Absolutely, it's significant. It shows that law enforcement is zeroing in on one of the most powerful crime families in the United States.
Among the 8 arrested today, Angelo Ruggiero, allegedly the mastermind of the heroin ring. Gene Gotti, Ruggiero's right-hand man. John Carneglia, another major figure in the ring. And Salvatore Scala, a reputed soldier in the Gambino family. The FBI gathered most of its evidence against the ring by 2 methods. First, they had an informant who penetrated the ring. And second, they planted bugs in this house in Cedarhurst. On May 17, 1982, Angelo Ruggiero met with some people at this house and then met with Confederate Gene Gotti. The FBI wiretap log shows Gotti asked Ruggiero, "You sure those people weren't wired up?" Ruggiero replied, "They were wired up. They're gonna get their heads cut off." In fact, there were wires, there was electronic surveillance, but Ruggiero and his cronies suspected the wrong people. The FBI is still looking for 5 more people, including Edward Leno and William Sestaro. The feds suspect they will continue to operate.
I think they're going to maintain a little lower profile in the immediate future, but I think they'll continue. Narcotics is just so lucrative that most people can't afford to stop that are involved. It's just a very profitable operation until you're caught.
4 or 5 years ago, New York and federal law enforcement officials launched a determined effort to infiltrate organized crime and bring it down. Today, those efforts are finally bearing fruit. And both New York and federal authorities say this morning's arrests are just the beginning. Mark Haynes, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Today, 12 U.S. track and field competitors have quit the Pan Am Games in Caracas. This after a crackdown on the use of anabolic steroids yesterday, when 11 athletes were disqualified, some of them winners. Those who quit today should not be presumed to be guilty, say the authorities. In any event, the games go on with some Americans still there. The team medical advisor, Dr. Roy Bergman, says steroid use will not be tolerated. Tracy?
Roger, here in New York, detectives are busy interviewing everyone who works the overnight shift in a garment district building. One of the cleaning women was murdered there last night. The building, 1407 Broadway, houses many of the leading clothing showrooms. 41-year-old Chestova Mikolajovic was stabbed to death in one of the offices as she worked. Police say they found some evidence on the scene, but they won't say what it was, and it hasn't helped them track down any suspects yet. Doctors, medical supplies, and food are being rushed into 2 of New York's welfare hotels. Investigators say the children in those hotels are underfed and sickly. The hotels themselves, wretched. Art McFarland tells us welfare hotels are the only homes available to many of New York's poor.
There are more than 2,000 families living in some 50 so-called welfare hotels around the city. People who've been left homeless by fires, evictions, and rents that were just too high.
We are working to find them apartments, and we will be spending about $20 million in city capital funds to rehabilitate about 1,200 apartments and buildings taken by the city through tax foreclosure for homeless individuals and for families.
At the Martinique Hotel on West 32nd Street, a team of state investigators paid a surprise visit to inspect living conditions. They reported filth here, and worse, kids that don't have enough food.
My reaction to being malnourished is not true, because we have food on the site, and they know if they have no food, they know that they can come here at any time if they'll be serviced.
Now, according to the report, there are kids here who are undernourished and don't have enough to eat. But here in the social worker's office, there are crates of food in this corner, another room full of supplies just like this. So if there are kids going hungry, whose fault is it?
There's no reason for these children to be that way, to be undernourished or anything. You know, the checks that they get here for their welfare and restaurant allowance, and some people are receiving food stamps, some not. But the children that are getting these, the people are feeding these children what they want to feed them.
It's up to the parent. You got kids, it's your responsibility to take care of them whichever way you can. And I do my part, I take care of mine.
These kids are getting lunches provided starting yesterday by the Board of Education. Do you feel you get enough to eat?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You don't ever have to go hungry or anything?
No.
Do you ever feel real hungry and feel like there's not enough to eat?
No.
That report by state welfare officials has drawn promises from Albany for an investigation of all hotels like this, and the city plans to examine thousands of these kids for possible malnutrition. Most welfare families have problems with basic things like food, but not all of them have to live in places like the Martinique Hotel. Some of the lucky ones get to stay here at the Henry Street settlement, at least for a while, and there's a big difference.
I like it. It's a beautiful place. It's nice, quiet. It's clean. It's brand new, renovated. No problems or anything.
I was living in the Bronx, and the apartment that I was living in was it was totally a wreck.
Now, the families, especially the kids that we talked to, seem to be handling their situation well enough. Of course, they'd all like to have homes. And we were asked, will you be back? Will what you have to say do us any good? Questions I really wanted to answer, but couldn't. Roger?
Is Atlantic City doing well? Well, how does $42.1 million in the second quarter of this year sound? Not bad. 2 of the 7 casinos did report losses, the Claridge and Playboy. The biggest earner, Harrah's. The combined fleecing for the first 6 months, $804 million. Now, New Jerseyites, don't ask me about trickle down. If you've gotten wet, it's probably the weather.
Well, it turned out to be the big gamble on the East River, a restaurant owner setting up a beach for his customers as a way to increase business. But as we hear now from Maxine Black, Lady Luck turned her back and the city turns out the winner.
200 tons of sand, a 140 by 40-foot expanse, room for plenty of blankets and bikinis, adjacent to the Water Club restaurant.
A beach on a barge on the East River, brainchild of restaurateur Michael Bugsy O'Keefe.
Manhattan's first beach. Well, almost. O'Keefe, who also owns the Water Club and River Cafe, says he's being burned, not by the sun, but by city fathers who say he lacks a permit, among other things.
It's nice to have the public use the waterfront as a recreational park-like area. And the Water Club was built in conjunction with a public access promenade. And this barge takes away from that promenade. This is for public use, and he has a private use barge there where the public has not been invited.
I want us to take it away, but we just did something we thought was really beautiful and wonderful, and they've asked us to remove it.
Lots of folks agreed the beach was a great idea, especially because it was so conveniently located.
Saves me an hour and a half of aggravation and worth of traffic. Yes, it does.
Gonna be sorry to see it go?
Sure, it's fun. It's summer.
So where will you go now?
To Florida on the weekends.
It had all the accoutrements of other beaches.
Do you come with this beach?
I don't know. It depends what your price is, you know?
Oh, you've got to be kidding.
I'm just kidding. No, it's a lot of fun here. No, it's you know, a place to get away.
It cost $5,000 to lease the barge, to tow it to its present location, and to paint it. Now it will be towed away on Wednesday.
We will cooperate with them as best we can. It's not easy to remove this, of course. It's very large.
Sure, it's a big job moving the barge, but O'Keefe says he doesn't want to make waves. The beach, however, may not be lost and gone forever. Next summer, there are plans to comply with city regulations and try again. Roger?
2 people are missing in the waters underneath the George Washington Bridge. The accident a short while ago. Harbor police have told us the 2 people fell off their 19-foot pleasure boat as they tried to pass between a tug and a barge. Police believe the 2 people were knocked off their boat after getting hit with some lines hanging from the larger boats. There were 2 people aboard the pleasure boat who were also injured. Police boats are still searching the area below the George Washington Bridge for the 2 who went into the water. An Eyewitness News team is en route to the story. We'll keep you up to date.
Tomorrow only, this 48-inch ceiling fan is just $50. And every ceiling fan in Housewares is 35 to 50% off. Tomorrow only at Bamberger's one-day sale.
Hold everything! If you're looking for a small pickup, now's the time to buy, because your Datsun dealer's having a hold everything sale. Choose from the rugged good looks of a 4x4, standard pickups for the long haul. Prices start at just $59.95. Datsun pickups hold just about everything, but hold it, there's still time to get 8.8% financing. Stop whatever you're doing and get down to the hold everything sale. See your nearby Datsun dealers. They're driven to save you money.
Here's another beautiful way to save at Siemens. 3-piece 90-inch wall units, all great values in styles for every decor. Like this contemporary unit for only $499, or this traditional style just $599. And finally, this magnificent black and brass contemporary unit, only $899. All are available for immediate delivery. A wall unit from Siemens, isn't it time?
Now's the time to see Siemens. the way to a beautiful home.
Bob. I can't believe it.
Martha?
Soon people across the country will be hearing from people they haven't heard from in years.
I heard you died.
For the first time, MCI is offering low long-distance rates to everyone.
You have how many kids?
Until now, you had to make a lot of calls to get MCI savings. But now everyone, almost everywhere, can save up to 50%, whether you call a lot or just a little.
I can't believe you still remember me.
Deja vu in the Garment District. Another blackout, not nearly as lengthy or as devastating as the one 2 weeks ago, but every bit as inconvenient to the people involved. Con Ed says it was a fuse problem in their circuits. Source of the trouble not yet known. Milt Lewis found Fashion Avenue types left with nothing to do when the plug was pulled.
All I know is that the lights went out, most of our lights went out, the air conditioning went out, all of our little IBM machines and Xerox machines went out.
Manhattan's Garment Center, still reeling from what happened less than 2 weeks ago, suffered another but much less severe trauma today. A partial blackout or brownout which lasted more than 3 hours, ending shortly after noon.
I had to let people go because they're in total darkness. Some of the rooms are completely out. The phones keep going in and out, and it's a mess.
With the 3-day disaster which began August 10th, stemmed from a Con Ed substation fire following a water main break, today's trouble was caused by, well, listen to a Con Ed spokesman.
The problem was blown fuses, a series of fuses in this area blew. To draw a simple analogy, our fuses are not much different from home fuses. They serve the same function. They're a safety device. They're the weak link that's designed to go whenever they see something they don't like.
One of the buildings very much affected by today's blackout was 557th Avenue. It houses such firms as Ralph Lauren, Oscar de la Renta, Pierre Cardin, and Bill Blass.
Apparently we were out of light and air conditioning for a couple of hours, but business went on as usual.
It didn't affect you?
No. We showed the clothes and they would open the windows and it was perfectly fine.
Where scores of buildings were affected between 30th and 40th streets week before last, they were on the east side of 7th Avenue over to 6th Avenue. Today's problems only involved about 8 buildings on the west side of 7th Avenue, especially number 550 and on 39th Street, west of 7th.
Oh, we have no power whatsoever. It's just the natural light. Fortunately, our showroom has windows onto the street. Otherwise, the whole floor would be in complete darkness.
Are you as warm as you look without air conditioning?
Very hot, very hot.
When your fuse blows at home, it's generally because of an overload. Since the Con Ed fuses went shortly after 9 this morning, when it was not especially hot, why did they go bad? Con Ed tells me, quote, "Good question. We're still trying to find out. When they find out, maybe they'll tell me, and I'll tell you." Roger.
LJ Juniors is suing Con Ed for $10 million. The dressmaker says the utility was negligent in that outage that blacked out the Garment District about 2 weeks ago. They also intend to sue the city, they say, and have given notice. Con Ed denies any liability.
Cable TV services are trying to pin liability on businesses that steal cable television. Roger Sharp reports that a lot of businesses have been stealing cable TV to increase business in restaurants and bars. Now they're in court.
Piracy at the cable box. Actually, it's nothing new, but today's federal suit here by Manhattan Cable TV is a first. 30 supposed illegal subscribers are named in detailed court papers, alleging that after disconnect warnings, they again hooked up secretly to get 26-channel cable service for free. The 300 miles of the system's cable actually passed 350,000 potential homes, but only about half that number are actually paid subscribers in southern Manhattan and the cable car world of Roosevelt Island.
Many of the individuals named in the lawsuit are actually residents of Roosevelt Island. The company's task force concentrated on this apartment complex, targeted the pirates, and gave them an opportunity to sign up legally. Those that refused are now named as defendants.
Some people have thought in the past that somehow stealing from a cable company is robbing from the rich to somehow create a Robin Hood mentality. That's totally wrong. What we're telling everybody is, if you're stealing, stop, because you're not going to get away with it anymore.
MCTV contends it's not only out to protect its own profits. The company claims paying subscribers often get hashed pictures because of the pirate connections by a neighbor. Also, it said the city is not getting the $1 franchise fee it should receive from the estimated thousands of pirates hitting the system each year.
The city of New York is getting hit for at least $60,000 and possibly as high as $100,000. And Manhattan Cable's revenues are being impacted at least $1 million a year as a result of these illegal hookups.
The company alleges that at least 2 pirates live in this posh building on East 79th Street. A woman on the 8th floor, a man on the 7th. Neither is home today to answer any questions about stealing cable TV. There also wasn't much reaction from the 3 restaurants also named as cable pirates. The manager at Allen's on 2nd Avenue was downright unfriendly. Oh, just, no. 2 minutes.
No.
We're going to send you this.
No 2 minutes, no 1 minute, no 2 minutes, no. Out.
The recovery room on East 70th Street was a bit more hospitable, but the bartender there said he knew nothing about any illegal TV viewing. Same for Swells on York Avenue, where the man with the key to the front door claimed to know nothing about the lawsuit.
I don't know anything about it, to say the truth. I really don't. I just started working here.
Is there a Manhattan cable TV box in here?
Not that I know of, no. And I have to get to work, so if you'll excuse me, if you need any information, you can contact our lawyer, okay? And I'll get you his number, okay?
Okay, we later did talk with the lawyer for Swells, and as yet, he's not familiar with the specifics of the case, but says he will defend the action in federal court September 30th. Actually, the overall sense of this is the company really wants the publicity to scare off the pirates. A tougher cable theft law does take effect in New York September 1st, and new technology will be making it somewhat easier to detect illegal hookups. So it seems unlikely that actual damages will result from anyone right now stealing a peek at a movie or a sporting event. It's more of a problem that hopefully time will take away. And aren't you glad Eyewitness News is for free? Tracy?
Yeah. In Westchester today, there was a drill for safety in case there's a disaster at Indian Point. We'll tell you how that drill went.
Shoreham has its troubles, too, and indications are they won't go away for a while.
Andros, I'll do that.
She'll do that.
You're not using Brillo? I switched to SOS.
Our family uses Brillo.
I know, but SOS has special soap that cuts grease better.
We have grease.
SOS even works better on burnt-on grease.
We have that, too.
And SOS makes everything feel so clean.
You're done already?
Just because you're used to something doesn't mean you shouldn't try something better.
She's got a point. So how come you're still married to Mo? Now, she's got a point.
When Bamberger's has a one-day sale, you really save on what really counts. It's 20 to 40% off everything for big kids and little kids for back to school. It's 50% off a 3-piece velvet sectional sofa. It's 25% off Mrs. Pure Wool sweaters and complete coordinates. It's 40% off genuine 14-karat gold chains. It's 20 and 25% off famous gold toe socks for men. And it's a whole lot more for a whole lot less. Tomorrow only at Bamberger's one-day sale.
I love the honest wheat taste of Kellogg's Mini Wheats. But the frosting side agrees with the little kid in me.
To the wholesome wheat, I happily say, I do. But the little girl in me loves the frosting, too.
Kellogg's Mini Wheat cereals. Wholesome shredded wheat for the adult in you. Light frosting for the kid in you.
Crunchy shredded wheat is really on the ball, but the frosting side tastes mighty good to guys who don't think small.
How shiny can Mr. Clean leave your no-wax floor? So shiny you might think it's wet. Oh, it's dry.
That's right.
Mr. Clean cleans clear to the shine, so it doesn't look dull when it's dry. Mr. Clean cuts through dirt and brings out the shine, so it doesn't look dull when it's dry. Mr. Clean, for a clean so shiny you might think it's wet.
It's right.
Look for great values on Mr. Clean, now in the fall cleaning display at your store.
Another evacuation drill today in Westchester to see how well the county could respond if an emergency happened at the Indian Point nuclear power plant. The test is one of several that must be passed if the county wants to get that plant recertified. Right now, Louis Young is live in White Plains to tell us how the drill went. Louis?
Well, Tracy, as you know, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has 2 major problems with the evacuation plan from Indian Point.
first is the Rockland County refusal to participate in that plan. The second is bus drivers here in Westchester County apparently refusing to endanger themselves to get other people out of the Indian Point area. Well, the first problem will be tackled tomorrow when state people try out their own Rockland County evacuation plan across the Hudson. The second problem was tackled today with a test of revised procedures for busing Westchester residents away from Indian Point, just in case. The test started just after 11 o'clock in a room that would become a command center in the event of a nuclear accident at Indian Point. You can imagine what it would be like if the circles on the map signified real danger, if radiation were coming out of the plant. Today was a test, but the deadly nature of the possible emergency added concern.
I think all of us would have preferred Indian Point to be in Nevada someplace, but it's here. And because it's here, we have to deal with it on a daily basis and make sure that everybody that lives in Westchester and also our neighbors that are around us in New York City and Connecticut and all over are as safe as we can make them.
From here, the call goes out and is relayed to the bus companies who have a contract to actually perform the evacuation. The question now, will there be bus drivers who know where to go and what to do? Will the buses actually show up? In Peekskill, County Executive Andrew O'Rourke waited for one of the buses. It showed up within 5 minutes of schedule. The driver seemed to know his orders.
Everything pretty smooth? The route?
Pretty smooth. Okay.
Okay, let's go.
A check at the Vanguard bus line office in Ossining showed those 3 buses also running on schedule, each driver given an emergency packet and 2 devices for measuring radiation, as well as a drug to slow radiation's effect on the body. The drivers were trained by Con Ed and the State Power Authority and seemed committed to act in an emergency. Why are you committed to it?
Care about people. People's lives are at stake. There is a plan, there is a procedure, there's a route. And I think if people keep, if something like this should ever happen, God forbid, that the people are prepared.
Back live now in White Plains, that man is a resident of Westchester County, as most of the 500 bus drivers involved in this evacuation plan are residents of the area. Critics have surfaced, though. Former Congressman Ogden Reed, a challenger to Andrew O'Rourke for the county executive here in Westchester, said that the county would be kidding the public to say that this transportation plan is effective. Of course, Mr. O'Rourke, or nobody in the county has said that. Anti-nuclear groups are critical of any evacuation plan, of course. They want Indian Point shut down, as they want most nuclear plants shut down. As long as the plants, though, are fueled and operating, the evacuation plan for Indian Point and other nuclear plants will remain a big story, and we'll be on it. Lewis Young, Channel 7 Eyewitness News in White Plains. Back to you, Roger.
Opponents of the Shoreham nuclear plant on Long Island now have additional ammunition in their fight to keep it closed. Lilco admits there are more problems with new equipment for the plant. Shoreham is supposed to go online next year, but during a test last week, a pipe cracked in one of the 3 backup generators. Now, Lilco says a possible crack has been detected in a second generator that's being checked out. But Lilco also says the plant will be in working shape and safe when it comes time to start it up. Officials at Bell Telephone see few, if any, impediments to ratification of the new contract. Bell goes so far as to say the strike could be over as soon as Thursday.
Well, computers seem to be just about everywhere. Coming up, you'll see what could happen when advertising and computers try to mix.
And it's time to roll up the sleeves of some people. Shots for school.
Money Tips brought to you by First Jersey Securities.
Technology is revolutionizing our lives and opening up new investment opportunities. The stocks of some computer and telecommunications companies look good to many experts. The payoff seems a bit further away in robotics and biotechnology. Beware of acting on hot tips from friends. Get expert advice. Read the business press closely, and then buy cautiously and gradually. I'm Marshall Loeb.
The Erie Canal that linked mid-America to the Port of New York took 8 back-breaking years to dig by hand. That kind of determination made this country grow. Today, I see that same determination in hundreds of small to mid-sized companies whose new ideas, new technologies, and new jobs will continue to build America. At First Jersey Securities, we specialize in discovering emerging growth companies for today's investors with vision. First Jersey Securities, come grow with us.
Tomorrow only, Bamberger's brings you an exceptional Sealy sale. Tomorrow only, get a best-selling Sealy mattress for half price. Today, this Sealy super luxury firm sells for $138. Tomorrow, it's only $69. Today, this Sealy Posturepedic sells for $198. Tomorrow, it's only $99. And tomorrow only, when you buy any Sealy set in any size, you'll get a bed frame as a bonus. Best-selling Sealy mattresses, 50% off tomorrow only at Bamberger's one-day sale.
Get glasses, Alice. Get glasses. You will look good in glasses, Alice. Get glasses. Get glasses, Alice. Fast. Get glasses, Alice. Here, right here. Over 2,000 fashion frames priced right, Alice. Soon you'll see me, Alice.
Harry? Harry?
Over here, Alice.
Harry!
Alice, you got glasses. You look great, thanks to...
Cohen's Fashion Optical.
Where else?
Tommy Tune, Twiggy, and the best dancing on Broadway at the St. James Theater.
When I'm so crazy over you.
My one and only.
Catch it. Computers, they're everywhere. Now they're stealing the Yellow Pages business. Consumer reporter Bob Blanchard has a warning about a company now that's selling advertising space on computer screens.
The company is CVC. According to their sales brochure, they're in the business of selling ads on computer terminals. The terminals are supposed to be located in busy places, like hotels. And if a prospective customer needs something, they would walk over to the computer, dial up the product, and order it.
What kind of promise about the potential number of customers did lead you to believe you could get?
They promised me originally 5,000 new customers every week.
But things didn't work out so well. After paying $1,500, listen to what happened to Garden Camera.
Now, since then, months ago, how many customers have you gotten?
We haven't even had one inquiry, and we had a special line installed to handle this great overflow of business, and we haven't received even one call from anyone from the Vista Hotel, even an inquiry.
When the salesman approached you, how many other camera stores did he say would be listed on his service?
They promised us, the original company promised us, that 3 other stores would be listed.
3 other camera stores?
3 other camera stores would be listed.
Well, this is the computer located here in the Vista Hotel. Well, as you can see, there is no long line waiting to use the computer. And also, there's another problem. Instead of just 4 camera stores listed, there are 14 stores listed. And there are some other problems.
Some of the businesses allege that the machine wasn't working. Others say their ad was not on the machine. We went down a couple of times and found the machine not working either.
Needless to say, we had a lot of questions for the company. But when we dropped by to interview a company official, we got nowhere.
Do you know when they may be in?
Oops, this is you?
Yep.
Okay.
You know when they may be in?
Probably tomorrow, because I know the president's out today.
Okay.
All right, so
Yep.
I'll have them get back to you.
Who's the president?
I can't give out any information.
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, we've held off for 3 weeks before airing this story to give the company all the time in the world to answer our allegations. What we got instead was a telex in which the company says, yes, we do encounter disgruntled advertisers from time to time, and these few complaints have been handled by us. The telex went on to say that we consider it inappropriate for Channel 7 to broadcast any story which could unfairly damage or undermine our marketing efforts. Well, the telex was signed by Mr. Davis, a man we never got to meet. We couldn't interview him on camera. Roger?
According to the Labor Department, the prices you paid in July climbed only 0.4%. Food prices actually fell, and that kept the combined consumer costs in check. The Federal Reserve Board has just completed 2 days of closed conversation. It's speculated they will do nothing that will accelerate any climb in interest rates. A Carnegie Foundation study seems to say it is now more true than ever that those who can do and those who can't teach. The study says the quality of people coming into teaching continues to decline. They cite low pay and a low opinion of the profession on the part of the public. The study calls for higher pay and higher standards.
The city is trying to reduce the number of children starting school without the proper shots. As always at this time of year, the health department is expanding hours so that all children have a chance to be protected against mumps, measles, diphtheria, polio, and rubella. Mayor Koch says school kids have no choice. They must be immunized.
You must get the kid immunized. And then we're putting you on notice that if all of the good reasons that we've given you don't get you to immunize your kids, and they should, just from the point of view of being a good parent, protecting your child, we're not going to let your kid into school.
The mayor directed his warning to public school children, but all children should be immunized, whether they're heading to daycare, nursery school, or kindergarten. Because immunization programs have been so successful at fighting the childhood diseases, some parents think those diseases have been wiped out. That's a false assumption which health centers like this one, the Upper West Side Health Center, have to fight against.
The child who has not been immunized could pick up a disease very easily.
So, should parents still worry about the childhood diseases?
Absolutely. The first time you have a feel with children not immunized, you can easily bring in other communicable diseases and very quickly have some kind of outbreak.
The Upper West Side Health Center is one of 72 city clinics that will give your kids shots at no cost. It only hurts for a minute. And all the mothers I spoke with today say they want their kids and all their kids' friends protected. Are you going to wait until your children start school to get them immunized against the childhood diseases?
No, they're being immunized now.
Why are you doing it now?
Because it's safer for their health.
My daughters are all immunized against these diseases, but the oldest one already got chicken pox this past summer, and it was because another child hadn't been immunized and she caught it from someone else.
To find the closest health center to you, call the immunization hotline at 212-349-2664. It's open between 8 a.m. and 5 o'clock at night. You'll gain peace of mind, and your child will be able to start school with all the other kids. Despite what you saw, it only hurts for a moment. Roger?
We'll be talking when we continue about the president's image among American women, which reminds me, Tracy has complained. I've only mentioned her name once so far, Tracy.
Okay. And the Yanks, more drama off the field. Spencer Christian is next up with sports as Billy Martin plays a waiting game.
Hold everything! If you're looking for a small pickup, now's the time to buy, because your Datsun dealer's having a hold everything sale. Choose from king cabs for work or play, sport trucks for style and action. Prices start at just $59.95. Datsun pickups hold just about everything, but hold it. There's still time to get 8.8% financing. Stop whatever you're doing and get down to the hold everything sale.
See your nearby Datsun dealers. They're driven to save you money.
Here's another beautiful way to save at Siemens. 3-piece 90-inch wall units, all great values in styles for every decor. Like this contemporary unit for only $499, or this traditional style just $599. And finally, this magnificent black and brass contemporary unit, only $899. All are available for immediate delivery. A wall unit from Siemens. Isn't it time?
Now is the time to see Siemens, the way to a beautiful home.
Let's stop at Roy Rogers for some chicken.
They don't have chicken.
Sure they do.
Do not.
He's right. It's called Roy Rogers Fresh Fried Chicken.
Yeah, that they do have chicken, and it's fresh fried. That means you use fresh chickens.
I bet he means they fry it fresh, so it tastes fresh.
Fresh chicken.
Fresh fried.
You're both right. Fresh fried means fresh, not frozen chicken, and we do fry it fresh for that delicious fresh taste, whether you eat it at Roy's or take it home.
Let's take it home.
No, let's eat it here.
Home.
Roy's.
Home.
Roy's.
Well, you know the old line, you get what you pay for. That's true for some things, but not always for long distance. Fact is, a lot of you pay too much for what you're getting, maybe even twice as much. Get Sprint. Have all the fun of calling, but pay a whole lot less. It's simple to use, easy to get. Better call Sprint, because when you're paying so much for those calls, you're getting only one thing. Very big phone bills. Call Sprint. Find out about it.
People in the news tonight, the 42-year-old daughter of the president is going to go to work for him. Maureen Reagan will be paid by the GOP to try and change the minds of women regarding her father. She ought to have a good time. She's for ERA and Daddy isn't. New York City Council said thank you today to a Polish Catholic woman who hid Jews from the Nazis in World War II. Maria von Bonzak sheltered 20 Polish Jews, including Nathan and Paula Warman of Brooklyn. They brought Maria Bonzak to New York last month for their first reunion in 41 years.
Spencer Christian here now. He says there is drama off the field for the Yankees, despite what some people write.
That's right. There's much drama there. High drama. Intense drama. Yankee manager Billy Martin is still fighting a 2-day suspension imposed on him on August 5th. Billy met with American League President Lee MacPhail today to appeal that suspension, and Paul Guanzon was at the American League offices.
It all started on July 31st in Chicago when Butch Weiniger replaced the injured Rick Cerrone at bat. Manager Billy Martin believed Weiniger should have received more time than it takes the pitcher to throw the standard 5 warm-up tosses. But umpire Dale Ford, number 20, allegedly said only 5 tosses allowed. An argument ensued, and guess who won? After the game, umpire Ford allegedly said he told Weiniger to take as much time as necessary. And that's when Billy Martin reportedly called Ford a stone liar. Billy was suspended by American League President Lee MacPhail for calling umpire Ford a liar. Today, Billy's appeal hearing was held at the American League offices. The first to arrive was catcher Butch Weiniger, and then Billy's attorney in this case, Roy Cohn, from the famed Joseph McCarthy Red trials.
It's pretty hard when you're appealing to the same person who made the decision, but we have a very strong factual case.
And finally, Billy arrived, and I asked him what he thought his chances were for a successful appeal.
I got about as much chance as a Chinaman has in an orange fish bowl.
Well, you heard Billy and his attorney, Roy Cohn, say they really don't have a chance to win this appeal, so it makes us wonder, why would they even go through all of this trouble to begin with? You said you didn't have a chance to win this appeal.
Well,
why?
I don't mean to say we don't stand a chance. I think the facts are very compelling, and if Mr. MacPhail has promised us he's going to go into them very carefully in light of some testimony which came out today, which I think casts a new light on the whole situation.
3 hours later, the hearing ended, and Butch Weiniger talked about his testimony.
I just told him exactly what I saw. I mean, Dale Ford turned around, told me I had 5 warm-up tosses. That was it. Let's get the game on the way. And Dale's testimony was that he never said that. So it's Billy's and my word against theirs.
Well, I think right at this time we're not going to make any statements. They've heard our side of it, and they're going to make a decision later.
The American League will not have the results of the hearing until they receive a copy of the stenographer's transcript on Thursday, at which time Lee MacPhail will review today's testimony. But Billy Martin, armed with 4 attorneys, appeared more confident coming out than going in. Reporting at the American League offices, I'm Paul Guanzon, Channel 7 Eyewitness Sports.
Well, Billy probably could qualify as the Rodney Dangerfield of baseball, considering how little respect he gets from umpires. In the Yankees' 14-inning loss to the A's last night, Martin says 2 important calls were blown by the umps in the very last inning of play. Here's that fateful 14th. The A's have runners at the corners. Davey Lopes hits what could be a double play grounded to Willie Randolph at second, but Bill Allman practically stops in his tracks. Randolph settles only for 1 out, and that brings Billy out in a huff. He claims Allman interfered and prevented the double play. Billy loses, of course, and the A's then scored the go-ahead run. Now, bottom of the 14th, Greg Nettles singles to right field. Pinch runner Bert Campaneris takes off, rounds second, rounds third, and is waved home by Coach Don Zimmer, but a perfect throw from right field to Mike Davis, and he's out at the plate. But was he really out? Campy didn't think so, and the slow-mo replay certainly supports his point of view. But the Yanks lost the call and the game 3-2. So here are the latest standings in the American League East. Going into tonight's games, Milwaukee on top now, but not by much over Baltimore. Detroit and Toronto tied in third, and the Yankees 3.5 games out. The Yanks and the A's play again tonight at the stadium. Matt Keogh takes the mound for the Yanks, Mike Warren for the A's. The Mets will be playing the Padres in San Diego. Walt Terrell pitches for the Mets, John Montefusco for the Padres. Well, they ran the richest horse race ever in New York State last night, the $668,000 Shepherd Pace for 2-year-olds. With the stretch call, here's Yonkers track announcer Bob Meyer.
They come to the top of the stretch. Troop Tone Lobel still in front by 4 lengths. Embrace Me second, Apache Thurkle third. Through the stretch, Troop Tone Lobel in front by 4, with Embrace Me second. Troop Tone Lobel in front.
Now looking at the stretch run again in slow-mo, you may see driver Cat Manzi use the whip twice on True Tone Lobel. And you may well ask, why hit the horse when he has such a commanding lead? Actually, Manzi is hitting the side of the bike on the shaft. And it's just to keep the 2-year-old's mind on what he's out there to do, which in this case is to pick up $334,000 in first place purse money. NFL teams made their next-to-last cuts today, trimming rosters down to 60 players. Among those the Giants had to get rid of were tight end Gary Shirk, who was waived, center Chris Foote, who was traded to the Jets for an undisclosed draft pick, and running back Larry Heater, who was placed on injured reserve. And the latest, by the way, on Yankee shortstop Andre Robertson is that he is out for the season with injuries sustained in his automobile accident last week. More sports tonight at 11. Roger? Tracy? Tracy?
Again, who's keeping track out there for me? Coming up, we're going to have more details for you on the accident on the Hudson that took place just a short time ago.
And you'll get to see that fire that lit up Newark early this morning.
It's Fortunoff's White Sale. Our entire department is on sale and many items at half price. Like Burlington's first quality tricolor sheets. Originally $11, now half price, $4.99. Martex Velux blankets in a large choice of colors. Was $45, now half price, $16.99. Fortunoff's Decorator aluminum mini blinds, half price, starting at $14.99. Our White Sale at Fortunoff, Wayne, New Jersey, Westbury, Long Island.
Living young and eating smart. With Mazzola, you're thinking young at heart.
This family thinks young at heart, and that means Mazzola. For the snap-in salads or the crunch in my fried chicken. See, Mazzola is the only leading brand that's pure corn oil. Just perfect in a sensible diet to help reduce serum cholesterol.
Sensible? It's delicious.
With Mazzola, you're thinking young at heart.
Hey, starting right now, it's Toyota's big Come As You Are sales event. Don't waste a minute. Come as you are. Wherever you see this sign, Toyota dealers are trying to sell over 66,000 cars and trucks. But time is short, so come on and make your best deal. Come as you are. Come out of your hole. Special truck incentives from Toyota. 2 dealers could save you big money. Most Corollas and Tercels at last year's sticker prices. Love your hat. So come as you are.
Did you bring the music?
Hey, would I take a class trip without my tunes?
Larry.
Perhaps it's your batteries. I use Duracell in mine. Duracell batteries last longer.
Regular carbon batteries wear out after just a few tapes, but you can play up to 4 times more with Duracell. The copper top battery. No regular battery looks like it.
Hey, or lasts like it.
As we told you earlier, 2 people are missing in the Hudson near the George Washington Bridge. They were thrown from their pleasure boat when it tried to maneuver between a tugboat and a barge. We have late videotape from an Eyewitness News camera crew shooting the scene just a few minutes ago. Harbor units are on the scene joining in the search for those 2 missing people. 2 others who were aboard that pleasure boat are said to be safe. The accident happened late this afternoon. We will have more as the story develops. Roger?
In Newark, a fire in a plastics factory. 80 firemen called out to fight it in the middle of the night. 4 of them suffering smoke inhalation as a result. Art McFarland found a good deal of concern because of the fumes.
By the time firefighters arrived, flames and smoke were shooting out of windows at the plant. It's operated by the TD Plastics Company. They recycle plastics products and they use dangerous chemicals.
We have large amounts of fumes being given off on the main fire floor, and they're polyvinyl chloride fumes and some toxic materials up there. The fire originated on what they call the 4th floor. That was used for storage. There was no sprinkler protection up there. They were doing the process 1 floor below.
When the fire first broke out, there were 6 workers inside the building. They got out safely. We're told they weren't injured, but at least 4 firefighters were treated for chest pains and other symptoms related to inhaling all those fumes.
But we don't know how deep-seated the plastic is. If it's bulk plastic or already processed plastic, it's a big difference. And we won't know until we get farther into the fire building.
The fumes also caused some concern in the surrounding neighborhood.
My major concern is to make sure that nothing happened to the children nor the people in that building.
I was around at 4 o'clock this morning and I measured nothing around the perimeter of the building where the residents live. And just now there's no toxic fumes upstairs now either.
At one point, the fire shut down NJ Transit service near the plant, but now everything's back to normal. The fire itself took about 2 hours to bring under control. There was a lot of damage done to the 3rd and 4th floors of the building. Now, company officials say that it may be difficult, if not impossible, to restore full plant operations, and that will affect the 68 or so people who work here.
Well, I'm going to be out of a job for now, you know, so I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to have to look for another job, maybe wait and see what he's going to do.
So investigators will look into what happened as workers try to readjust their lives, and it'll be a while before officials know how much of an effect the toxic fumes will have on the people who've inhaled them. Art McFarland, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Texas Republican Senator John Towers says he will not seek re-election. Polls have indicated slippage in constituency support. Democrats see this Tower turn as an excellent opportunity for them in Texas.
Up next, Storm Field is here, Roger, to tell you if there's any sunshine in your future, Roger.
Thank you, Tracy. The Jersey Lottery jackpot continues to grow.
Today you need an oil this good. You need Quaker State.
I want all the performance this engine can deliver. I need an oil this good.
Today's four-cylinder engines work so hard, they demand an oil this good.
These motor oils are refined exclusively from Pennsylvania grade crude. Quaker State is so good, it's America's best-selling motor oil.
That engine's my bread and butter. I need an oil this good.
Old cars, new cars. Big cars, small cars. Today you need Quaker State. You need an oil this good.
When Bamberger's has a one-day sale, you really save on electronics, like this Sansui rack system with cassette deck, 30-watt tuner, direct drive turntable, three-way speakers with 8-inch woofers, and glass door rack. $1,000 today. Tomorrow, it's just $499. And this 19-inch Zenith Color TV with quartz tuning and Chroma Sharp picture tube, $450 today. Tomorrow, it's just $349. $501 off, $101 off. Tomorrow only at Bamberger's one-day sale.
Thursday, August 25th is the date to remember. That's when you get this 7-function sports watch free at Yonkers Raceway. It shows the date, month, seconds, minutes, hours. It's even a stopwatch. Excitement's the watchword at Yonkers every race. And with a watch on hand, you'll know it's time for action wherever you are, inside or trackside. Hey, it keeps great time. It's my horse that's slow. Come to today's Yonkers for a night that's fun and a watch that's free.
Lemon tree, very pretty.
And the lemons smell so sweet.
You got a whiff of Ajax dishwashing liquid with real lemon juice.
Mmm, lemony. But look at these spaghetti special.
Lemony Ajax works longer, so you'll wash more dishes. In a test on equal stacks of spaghetti dishes, Lemony Ajax washes to the finish. The leading liquid doesn't. Lemony Ajax gets dishes so grease-free, they squeak.
Yeah.
Soviet and American leaders may not get along very well, but Soviet and American animals may be having rather beautiful relations. A rare Siberian tiger from Moscow arrived at the Bronx Zoo today. He was still sleeping off effects of his long flight when we visited the tiger. The Russians sent him here to help expand the small population of Siberian tigers in U.S. zoos. 2 other big cats went on to other cities. However, it may be all for naught because his name is Tulip.
Oh, I feel better about the Russians than if they named their tigers Tulip.
Very good, Tracy.
Yes, Roger. Time to go from Roger to Storm with the weather.
The easier
nice weather?
throw, isn't it?
Yes.
The weather has been beautiful, and the dry weather and the warmth and the sunshine is going to continue with us. Well, weather watchers that we've talked to all reporting temperatures around the 80-degree range, and it's really not too much difference. Here in Midtown, it is 82 degrees. The humidity, very dry, about 34%. The barometric pressure also is no problem, and the winds continue to blow from a northwesterly direction, about 5-6 miles an hour. As far as our high today, we did get up to 85 degrees. That happened at about 3:30 this afternoon. There we are, 72 degrees, the low today, not really all that low, quite warm, temperature really not dropping off very much, about 5:30 this morning. Records for this date, we got it to about 82 degrees, 65 for low, so overall the average was a little bit warmer than normal. Record high for this date, 92 degrees, 1916, and 51 degrees, 1923. Air quality today was fine. Tomorrow also is going to be good. Now, as we take a look at our map today, what you're going to see on it is a low-pressure storm center that is out here in the midsection of the country. Now, there's a lot of heat out here, tremendous warmth. And as that warmth begins to push up towards us, this cold front that has dropped down by us and has given us the delightful weather that we have today and is going to give us more of this lovely weather tomorrow will begin to back up on us. Unsettled, warm, humid air coming back towards us as the front drives down a little bit. It'll bend back up and move towards us, which means instability moving our way, more heat, more humidity, and by the time the weekend shows up, we should be back into the summertime pattern with temperature readings probably getting close to 90, which is not bad news if the beach is where you're heading. As far as the satellite picture, well, on that, what you're going to see is plenty of clear skies out to the west of us, actually to the southwest, but as you move along and take a look in here, notice the developing thunder showers all along the Gulf Coast area. Notice how it builds up. There's nothing here, then watch as it kind of comes and spreads out, especially off the Florida coast. There were thunder showers all through Florida today, moving up around the Gulf Coast area, And a little bit further north, again, as this frontal line right in here began to touch some of that off. Now, our satellite picture, latest satellite still, taken late this afternoon, shows plenty of clouds and showers around. You can see more in the way of clouds and showers out to the west of us, and you can understand that as that front drops by us, the clear skies that we have up here will give us some beautiful weather ahead. But once that front begins to tilt back and move towards us, all that heat, humidity, and the broken thunder shower activity is also going to move our way, so we can expect some of that. But at this point, I'd say the timing is not until the end of the week as a high-pressure ridge continues to hold sway over our area. So the forecast for tonight should be a beautiful evening. Plenty of moonlight, not great for stargazing. The moonlight is just going to kind of bleach all that out. It will be mostly clear out, and temperature is mild, somewhere between 68 to 70 degrees. Then for tomorrow, plenty more in the way of sunshine, mild weather continuing. Temperatures again stay in the low 80s, which is normal for this time of year. In the evening, it is going to be mostly clear, and again, a beautiful evening. Temperatures staying in the upper 60s range. Then on Thursday, we get a little bit of fair weather cloudiness moving in, but still plenty of sunshine, a little bit warmer, maybe a touch of humidity starting to make its way in, partly cloudy in the evening. But then I think the humidity and probably the heat will begin to make its way back in on Friday. And Friday night, there is a possibility of us maybe getting a shower. But we'll keep an eye on it. Tell you more about that tonight at 11. Roger?
The U.S. Navy confirms 2 of its planes did land at the Guatemala City airport during the August 8th coup. However, responding to rumors the U.S. was guilty of coup complicity, the Navy says quite the contrary. The planes were there to pick up the Guatemalan president for a visit to the USS Ranger. Well, their passenger was being couped, so he never made the trip, and they had to leave without him. The U.S. is pulling out 2 AWACS surveillance planes and their fighter escorts from the Sudan. They were there to monitor military movements in Chad. There is some dispute as to whether the French had asked for them in the first place. Washington says this does not mean the U.S. no longer opposes Libyan aggression. It is also reported a Libyan armored column has moved deeper into Chad, but they are still 230 miles from the French positions.
Tracy.
Coming up, how a few numbers could win you, me, even Roger, several $1 million.
Well, you have to have first a Jersey lottery ticket.
E.T. spotlights your and the new breed of movie muscle men, plus Rita Coolidge and reggae king Bob Marley. Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7.
Ever notice how things break down right after the warranty expires? Most warranties only last a short time. But if you have a transmission problem, you can choose at an additional cost a service that includes a warranty that lasts as long as you own your car. AMCO's Car Ownership Warranty. You get free annual checkups and you never pay for transmission repair again. Wouldn't it be nice if every warranty was this way? AMCO. Why go anywhere else?
Hi, Mom. What's for dinner? Hot dog. What kind of mother are you? You don't give a grown kid hot dogs for dinner.
But these are different. These are Purdue chicken franks. They have more protein and less fat than ordinary hot dogs.
I know, and they taste just as good as regular ones and cost less, too. Right. I still don't want any.
Why not?
I just had one with my friend Frank.
Try Frank's Franks. They're good in every way.
What kind of people drink Sanka on ice? Skywriter, Bob Favreau.
Up here, I need a steady hand to be letter perfect. Too much caffeine can throw off my control. And I can't afford that. So I choose Sanka on ice. It's delicious and it's decaffeinated, so it's just right for writers like me.
Sanka brand decaffeinated coffee on ice for people who love coffee but not caffeine.
Updating our major story developing at this hour, a search is on in the Hudson River under the George Washington Bridge for 2 people thrown from their pleasure boat late this afternoon. According to the Coast Guard, the boat tried to maneuver between a tugboat and a barge and crashed into a cable connecting those 2 ships. The pleasure boat then sank. 2 other people who were on the boat are safe, but Coast Guard and harbor units have joined the search for the 2 people still missing. The FBI has arrested 8 men said to be top members of the Gambino crime family. The charge, running a multi-million-dollar drug ring. The FBI says it's still working on the case, which it believes will make a major dent in the underworld's drug business. Roger?
There is another way to get rich, especially in New Jersey. 6 numbers. Josh Howell now with what you can win.
There has been no top winner in the Pick 6 New Jersey lottery for 3 weeks, and the pot has been growing. The ticket line started growing at 7:15 this morning here at the Windsor Pharmacy in Newark. Yes, the odds against winning are overwhelming, and yet the opportunity is almost irresistible. $1 for a chance, even a small chance, to win millions.
What I see here is 7,500,000.
Would that be acceptable?
Well, I'll take less.
They wouldn't have to twist my arm too hard to make me take $7.5 million.
I want you to disclose to me in complete confidence, of course, with the millions of viewers watching, your secret technique for picking the numbers.
I really don't have any.
As of this morning, the pot was estimated to be $7.5 million, but of course it's still growing. By this afternoon, lottery officials expected it to reach $8 million, and it will continue to grow until the drawing on Thursday.
I just want to be comfortable. I don't even want to be rich.
How many tickets are you buying?
Well, it's for different people.
How many different people?
15.
15? So how many tickets would you say you're buying altogether?
About 150.
150 tickets?
Wow. Do I have a chance? No. I've never even hit 4 out of 6. That only pays about $80. I haven't hit anything.
You're due.
I'm due. Hopefully.
What would you do with that money?
Spend it.
On what?
On me and my family.
So give me an idea what you'd buy with $8 million.
Car and a house. I'll go on a cruise.
What would I do?
Yeah.
I wouldn't change.
I'd just be free as a bird, you know.
There is one other set of numbers you should know about. The drawing will take place at about 7:56 Thursday night. Josh Howell, Channel 7 Eyewitness News in Newark.
We've now learned it's worse than we reported. The Long Island Lighting Company just announced they found more trouble than expected with the Shoreham nuclear plant. Lilco says all 3 backup generators that went through testing last week cracked. Lilco was planning to start loading fuel into those generators as part of its effort to get online early next year. Now Lilco says they have no idea when they can do it. Hoping your news is good news, I'm Roger Grimsby.
Coming up next on Channel 7 ABC's World News Tonight, for Bill Beutel, I'm Tracy Egan. Have a good night.
On tomorrow's 5 o'clock Eyewitness News with Ernie Anastas and Kaidi Tong, a man who may be the oldest firefighter in America. Also, Lou Grant himself, Ed Asner, at 5 tomorrow on Eyewitness News.
Meineke discount mufflers, you can always count on quality at a price you love.
Installed from $18.93 to $26.95. Visit your local independently owned Meineke shop today.
In the 5 miles of Atlantic City's famous boardwalk, there's only one spot that sizzles, the Tropicana.
Catch a sizzling star when Bobby Benton headlines on September 2nd and 3rd. For showtimes and ticket information, call the Tropicana box office or your local Ticketron outlet.
Tropicana, where every second sizzles.
When Bamberger's has a one-day sale, you really save on what really counts. It's 20 to 40% off everything for big kids and little kids for back to school. It's 50% off a 3-piece velvet sectional sofa. It's 25% off Mrs. Pure Wool sweaters and complete coordinates. It's 40% off genuine 14-karat gold chains. It's 20 and 25% off famous gold toe socks for men. And it's a whole lot more for a whole lot less. Tomorrow only at Bamberger's one-day sale.
Celebrate summer in the city at Clove Lakes Park in Staten Island. Explore the world of nature and how it inspired the great composers of music. Bring your blankets and chairs.
Entertainment Tonight in 30 minutes.
Tonight, the mood could be very different than usual at one of the country's best-known discos. The deadly disease AIDS will be on the minds of many who show up to dance tonight at Studio 54. We'll have that story coming up at 11. Plus another chance for you to cash in on a reward money being offered by Crime Stoppers.
Also tonight, the search continues for people missing after a boating accident in the Hudson River. And the story of a light bulb we're told has been burning nonstop for more than 70 years. Join us for all that and more tonight on Eyewitness News. Right now, ABC's World News Tonight.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight. Substituting...
Two men walked into the Flavorite Provision Company on Gansevoort Street. There were two people working there at the time.
The owner of the establishment asked his helper to retrieve some meat from a walk-in refrigerator. At this time, the subject with the black hair followed him into the walk-in box and produced a switchblade knife, ordered him to lie on the floor.
Meanwhile, the second man pulled a large caliber revolver, demanded money, forced the owner into his office.
They were in the middle of this robbery when the deceased, Mr. George Mayo, knocked on the front door.
On that day in May, the day he died, George Mayo was working here in the meat market in Lower Manhattan, just as he had every working day for the past 15 years. He was coming to the Flavorite Provisions Company to pay a bill. His father was watching from across the street as George walked in through these doors. The police think one of the killers opened the doors to let George Mayo in.
Police say there was no sign of a struggle. Within no more than a few minutes, George Mayo was shot once in the head, slumped to the floor, and died shortly thereafter.
Not even 5 minutes passed by, I heard commotion outside. I ran outside. There was a robbery and a murder, and George was dead.
Police have been able to piece together descriptions of the two men. Both are said to be white. One man is approximately 5'6", 140 pounds, with long black hair and a mustache. On the day of the murder, he was wearing a blue shirt and dark blue pants. The second man is 5'8", about 155 pounds, with dirty blonde hair. He also had a mustache. Each is said to speak with an Eastern European accent.
There may be more witnesses to this crime. Police say apparently the killers got into an old, dark automobile and sped up this street against traffic. And then when they got to the corner of Gansevoort and Hudson Street, there was an accident.
The occupants of one of the cars was a male white in his mid-50s with his wife. There was no accident report filed at the time. We're endeavoring to locate the operator of that car to see if there's any connection between the gentleman that committed this murder and the fellows that were involved in the accident. I feel that we just need one more piece of information concerning them that would push us over the edge that we could solve this crime.
The main thing is to catch the guy, that's it.
The New York City Police would like your help in finding the killers of George Mayo. If you know anything at all about the shooting last May in the wholesale meat market, call 577-TIPS, 577-TIPS. Remember, your anonymity is absolutely guaranteed. If your tip should lead to an arrest and indictment in this case, you may be given a $500 reward. If you have any information on any violent crime, call 577-TIPS. You could be in line for rewards of up to $500. Remember, you can help police find who it was who killed George Mayo. This is Bill Beutel, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.